বিজেপি দল সাংগঠনিকভাবে প্রাতিষ্ঠানিক রূপ দিয়েছেন এবং তারা মনে করেছেন সন্ত্রাসী আমার একমাত্র ভরসা।
There is no violence.
আমার সামনেই তারা কুবাইছে, দেখছি, আমি কিছু করতে পারছি না। এরপরে যারা ফুলের মেলা যে তারা উৎসাহ কতটুকু বিটা করে নিজেরাই বুঝেন।
I, as a party कार्यकर्ता, I haven't seen such a political violence.
আরও লাশ পড়বো, আরও খুন হইব।
With only hours to go, poll fever in Tripura is at an all-time high. Streets have been decorated with flags and posters. Several areas are witnessing campaigns as slogans of political parties echo through the streets almost everywhere. Amid all the pomp and show, Pranajit Namasudra is a mere statistic, and his family's pain all forgotten. All that remains is a poster placed as a tribute to the 44-year-old, a memorial in front of his house and his mourning family, which includes his widow and 3 daughters. Namasudra died on January 18 after being assaulted by unknown miscreants in Tripura's Thalai district. A worker with the Pradyut Manika Dev Burma-led Tipramotha party, Namasudra was returning home after attending a wedding. Police said the incident was the fallout of a monetary dispute. Namasudra's widow, Subharani Das, however, is certain that the attack was carried out by the ruling BJP.
বিজেপির গুন্ডা বাহিনী, পরিষ্কার বিজেপির গুন্ডা বাহিনী।
কিন্তু পুলিশ তো কইতেছে যে ওনার নাকি কিছু টাকা পয়সার লেনদেনের ব্যাপার ছিল, এইসব কারণে এরকম হয়েছে।
না না, এটা ভুল কথা। এটা যদি কইয়া তাহলে কোনো সাক্ষী প্রমাণ দেখাক, সাক্ষী প্রমাণ থাকবো ওর কাছ থেকে যদি কোনো টাকা পয়সার লেনদেন থাকে। আর টাকা পয়সার লেনদেনের লেগে হলে তো 20-22 জনে একজন লোককে অ্যাটাক করতো না।
এরা তো এটা ঠিক করছে না। না, যদি কিছু মানে টাকা পয়সা, তারা তো কইছে টাকা পয়সারইও, যদি টাকা পয়সার কোনো ব্যাপার হইতো তাহলে তো সেরা বাড়ির মধ্যে সবাই জানে, সবাই নিয়ে বইয়ে সে একটা কথা কইতো। তা রাতের অন্ধকারে এভাবে সুরের মতো মারা তো ঠিক হয়েছে না। না, আর আমি জানি বাবা এমন টাকা পয়সার ইয়ে রইলে বাড়িতে জানাইল, বাড়িতেও এমন কোনো কথা কইছে না। আর টাকা পয়সা না, আরও এর আগে অনেক 2-3 বারই বাবার এমন অ্যাটাক করছে। এটা মানে এটার প্রতিবাদ চাই, এটা বন্ধ করা দরকার, আর তারা শাস্তি দেওয়া দরকার।
This is the vehicle Namasudra was travelling in on the fateful evening. It was burned down during the attack. Indrajit Namasudra, Pranajit's nephew and an eyewitness to the incident, recalls the horror of the night.
জেটুরে 7-8 জন মিল্লা জেটুরে ধারালো অস্ত্র দিয়ে আঘাত করছে মাথায়, মুখে, করার পরে আমার সামনেই তারা কুবাইছে, দেখছি, আমি কিছু করতে পারছি না, কারণ আমার 4-5 জনে ধরে রাখছিল। তারপরে যখন মারতেছে তখন আমারও 2টা বাড়ি দিছে, যখন বাড়ি দিছে তখন বাড়ি খাইয়া সেটা জোরাজুরি করে চুটটা আমি দৌড়িয়া পালিয়ে আইছি। আওয়ার পরে পুলিশ খবর দেওয়া হয়েছে, পুলিশ গেছে পরে পুলিশে জেটুরে লইয়া হাসপাতাল লইয়া গেছে। যারা যারা আসছিল তার নামে কেস দেওয়া হয়েছে, যারা যারা চিনছি তার নাম দিয়েছি।
"76-year-old Shahid Mia was another victim of a political clash at Charilam Market in Sipahijala district on November 30, 2022. He had gone out to participate in a rally held by the CPIM. but his blood-covered body had to be rushed to the trauma center of the GB Pant Hospital in Agartala. After a clash between workers of the CPIM and the BJP broke out. 10 others were also injured in that incident. Mia left behind 2 sons and a widow who shifted to Sonamura after his demise. His brother Rahim Mia says that they do not long for justice, since those arrested were welcomed with garlands after they were released on bail and remain scot-free.
আর কতজন অ্যারেস্ট হয়েছিল?
2 জন বেলে অ্যারেস্ট হয়েছিল।
তারাও এখন বেলে।
তারা এখন বেলে, তারা বেলে আসার পরই কিছুদিন মন মরার মতো ছিল। তারা 2 জন আসার পরে তারা তো ফুলের মালা টালা দেওয়া বাইর করে আনছে, এটা বোধহয় আপনারাও পাইছেন। এরপরে যারা ফুলের মালা দেয় তারা উৎসাহ কতটুকু এটা তো নিজেরাই বুঝেন। আর আমরা যে মন ভাঙার মধ্যে যে আরও কত মন ভেঙে যাবো এটাও জানে। আমার বয়স 75 আপ, আমার বড় ভাইয়ের বয়সটা যদিও কম হয়ে থাকে আরও বেশি। আমি এখন যে ঘর থেকে বাড়িয়া একটা সামাজিক অনুষ্ঠানে যাব এই আমি করতে পারি না, আমার মন এরকম হয়ে গেছে। জানি না এই কেসের বিচার সামনের দিকে পাবো কিনা।
Tripura is no stranger to political violence, and with the polling date closing in, there is fear of an escalation in such instances. According to the data from the National Crime Records Bureau, there has been a steady rise in political violence after a dip in 2019, a year after the BJP ended the CPIM's over 2-decade rule. In 2021, Tripura reported the highest political violence in the northeast with over 64 cases reported. 136 people were injured in these clashes. In 2020, 22 such political clashes were reported, leaving 78 people injured. Whereas in 2019, there were 20 such cases in which 62 people were injured. According to senior journalist and editor-in-chief of TripuraInfo.com, Shekhar Datta, the history of political violence in Tripura dates back to early 80s.
Tripura's political scenario is marked by violence because of polarization, basically political polarization between the communists and non-communists. At one point of time, the non-communist camp was held by Congress. Now BJP came to power in 2018, so the scenario has changed. But the history of political violence is not very old. In fact, it had commenced from early 80s. But one thing is clear, that those political violence and killings were selective and target oriented, not indiscriminate terror or indiscriminate violence. Many such things happened, like 3 MLAs, 1 minister were killed either by extremists, anti-social elements, or by political rivals. Besides, many other important leaders and workers of various parties have lost their lives to political violence.
On political grounds, mentioning violence only initiates a blame game, where one party blames the other for striking the first blow and steer clear of being involved in or encouraging any such activity. However, young leaders of the Congress did admit to the instances of political violence.
We Congress and Bamfront, are admitting that yes, yet some political violence had happened during that time, and some people had lost their lives. So this political violence, has to be come to put an end. So that is why, and it is one of the most important reasons Congress and Bamfront have come together and promised each other that political violence in Tripura will not gonna be happen again.
ত্রিপুরা রাজ্য কমিটির সম্পাদক কমরেড নবরুণ দেব।
Nabarun Dev, Tripura State Secretary of the Democratic Youth Federation of India, the youth wing of the CPIM, claims that the BJP gave violence in the state a more organized structure and used it to scare people to vote for them.
3 মার্চ থেকে আজকের দিন পর্যন্ত কিন্তু সন্ত্রাস সম্পর্কে বিজেপির নেতারা সন্ত্রাসের বিরুদ্ধে একটা শব্দ উচ্চারণ করেননি এই কারণেতে তাতেই স্পষ্ট যে সন্ত্রাসটাকে বিজেপি তাদের সাংগঠনিক রূপ দিয়ে এটাকে প্রাতিষ্ঠানিক রূপ দেয় এবং এটা দিতে তারা বাধ্য হয়েছেন এই কারণেতে, কারণ তারা সরকারে যে এসছেন 2% থেকে 48% ভোট, এটা কিন্তু বিজেপির মানে তার ভোটারের ভোট না, একটা এন্টি ইনকামবেন্সি, তার সঙ্গে কংগ্রেস এই সময় দীর্ঘদিন বিজেপির বিরুদ্ধে সিপিএমের বিরুদ্ধে লড়াই তারা একটা সময় ঝাঁপিয়েছিলেন। ফলে বিজেপি সংগঠনহীন, ভোটারহীন, অন্যের ভোটে বিজেপি সরকার। এখন এই সরকারটাকে ধরে রাখার জন্য বিজেপি দল সাংগঠনিকভাবে প্রাতিষ্ঠানিক রূপ দিয়েছেন এবং তারা মনে করেছেন সন্ত্রাসী আমার একমাত্র ভরসা, সন্ত্রাসের উপরই আমার সরকারকে টিকিয়ে রাখতে হবে, সন্ত্রাস করেই আমার ভবিষ্যতে সরকার তৈরি করতে হবে।
According to leaders of the BJP, the root cause of violence in the state goes back to the CPIM's rule.
So we have to see who's talking that. All right, the party, the CPM party in last 25 years, they misrule our state very much and very badly. And I'm at 32 years now. In my age, I've seen a lot of violence, political murder, rape, crime, in terms of political atrocities towards many people, towards the oppositions, towards the state. So before they talk something about the other political party, BJP, talking about BJP, let them wash their hand first. They're putting their hand into mud and they try to wash their hand by, such comment. This is a very, unacceptable comment by oppositions like CPIM and Congress, who believe in rowdyism and who believe in what is this called, talking about the atrocities, talking about the political violence. We don't believe in such violence and such atrocities.
Big wigs in the BJP too maintained a similar stance on being asked about political violence in the state. Chief Minister Manik Saha told EastMojo that there were no violence in Tripura and that the law and order situation was much better now under the BJP rule.
Usually during elections, we would see a lot of violence. What do you attribute this to? There is no violence, and now it is under the purview of Election Commission. From our side, though, we have maintained, because NBC report says that out of 29 states, in all aspects, the violence has been decreased in all aspects. Law and order situation is better than any out of these 29 states.
Although the BJP and Tripura have been at loggerheads ever since the Saffron Party made its stance on Greater Tripura land clear and said that BJP will not allow Tripura to be divided. Royal Scion Pradyut Manikya agreed that violence may have come down under the current Chief Minister's rule when compared to Biplab Deb's rule until early last year.
Fact is, under this CM, the violence has come down. Under the erstwhile CM, there was a bit of violence. The CM seems to be a gentleman, a soft-spoken man. He's just come to power for 5-6 months. By the time he understands the system, he will know it is very difficult for him to manage it. because there are people within his own government trying to destabilize him. Regarding the communists internalize their violence like they have done in Bengal, they have done it in Kerala, they have done it in Tripura. The fact is, it is a communist way of life. Wherever there is communism, there is large scale of violence, especially in the 3 states I have named. Today there is no Trinamool, there is no communist in West Bengal, but Trinamool and BJP indulge in the same violence the left had propagated. So now it is inculcated in the DNA. Same thing is in Tripura. For us to change this culture of violence, you have to first accept one fact, that just by changing your jhanda, you don't become a new banda, right? What's happened is the same criminal who was holding the communist flag today is holding the BJP flag.
However, CPIM's Chief Ministerial prospect, Jitendra Chaudhary, claimed that violence during the Left Front's regime was foreign-funded extremism, nothing political.
You are one party which held power for a record 25 years here in the state. Many of the residents say during that time there was a lot of violence. Even now we see violence, political violence in the state. When will it stop and how will you make a change if voted
You
to
see,
power?
during the time of the left, that violence was not the general law and order violence. That was the extremist violence. That extremist violence is, sponsored by the foreign powers.
But political parties have also fought.
Never. It was never. Political parties, that is a intra-party or inter-party, you go by any record. But during last 5 years, all this violence was, it is unleashed by the ruling party. And in every cases, the opposition, and very particularly we left, we are the target. And we didn't get any justice from the law and order authority.
Shekhar Datta says political violence is linked to lack of employment and livelihood options. With the announcement of poll dates, the ball is now in the court of the Election Commission. Since January 18, the state has seen at least 14 cases of political violence, including a murder. Meanwhile, to tackle the issue, about 200 companies of Central Paramilitary Forces have already been deployed in several sensitive areas.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to EastMojo. For any queries, put them down in the comments section below and press on the bell icon for notifications.